Welcome to the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. Wherever you are today, if you're starting with nothing or are well on your way to the success you desire, with the right people, processes, and promotions in place, you will be unstoppable. And now, I'd like to introduce your host, Mike Stromsoe.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Stromsoe coming to you live from the Living Agency Laboratory. I am excited about our next episode in the Unstoppable Profit Podcast, and I'm here with Ron Schroyer. Ron, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, me too, and I can't wait to dig in and find out the amazing things that you guys have going on. I know quite a bit because we are in conversations for our own agency with your product. The more I learn about it, the more it excites me. So I want to make sure that we get as much information in the hands of the people that are either listening to this and or watching it, so they too can grow their business and get to the next level. So thanks again for spending some time today.
Oh, you're welcome, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, so before we get into the nitty gritty, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you come from? Who are you?
Yeah. So, I mean, how far do we want to go back? So I'll give you a quick snapshot of life. I was a Navy brat growing up. So, I mean, my dad was in the Navy 31 years, and then he spent another 17, 18 with the VA. So always been involved with the government military kind of life, born in California, bounced around, and ultimately settled south of Pittsburgh, where both of my mother and father are from. Been there for about, 25 years now at this point from there. So I live about 20 minutes north of the city. Got two kids, 4-year-old, 1-year-old, little girl and boy, and they're entertaining, and they have aged me appropriately over the last 12 months with COVID. So it's been a fun ride on that side. But, from a career perspective, it's been awesome. The first, 15 years of my career, a lot of sales organizations that focused on technologies, professional services on that side. With it. And in roughly 2013, I ran into a non-compete issue with the company that I joined, and the last company. I actually had to leave that company because of it. I'd say leave, I got fired on that end. And so, like a lot of people, when they get into this insurance industry, they kind of fall into it. So I had the opportunity. A gentleman reached out to me in Pittsburgh, said, Huntington Insurance is looking at bringing on producers that are from outside of the industry that have a good kind of sales expertise on that end, but just teach them the technical part of insurance. So I was an EB producer at that point. That's right in the middle of ACA when that popped up. So that was fun and entertaining, but on top of that, kind of trying to cut your teeth on learning that part of the industry through all of that chaos. It was fun, but I had a blast. I mean, we were working through a lot of kind of mid-sized companies, 100+ employees on that, and it was the focus they wanted us to get into. But, as we're starting to kind of work through and build these, strategies for benefit plans and all the ancillary stuff that they were doing, I started to notice like a kind of a little bit of a shortfall as far as access to resources from a sales perspective, from an account management perspective, but also just how to operate the business. And, all the technologies were starting to get a little bit antiquated. There wasn't anything that was sexy that was out there to be able to utilize. So the gentleman who recruited me to go to work for Huntington used to be the former head of global sales for Aon, and then Sedgwick as well. So big jobs. He rings me up and he says, Ron, I know you're doing good at Huntington and everything else too. He said, but you got this technology background, and now you got a little bit of, insurance domain knowledge on this side. He said, why don't you come work for me? There's a cool company called Risk Match that a guy who I worked with, his name was Kabir Syed. He just started. And Kabir was the architect of Marsh's internal analytics platform called Market Connect. Wow. And you think of Marsh, they're one of the top 3 in the world on this side. So he built this platform that basically just took all the different data points that Marsh had. When you looked at clients, industries, carriers, commissions, intermediaries, and all this other stuff, and made it just easy for me as an executive to go in and look, how much premium am I trading with Travelers with? What's our average commission on commercial auto policies across, 35 million in premium? And be within a few clicks to get that answer.
Right.
So Kabir took that idea, replicated it, and built Risk Match for the middle market agents and brokers out in the industry. So I was like, hey, this is perfect. It's sales, it's new age, kind of the early stage of insuretech. Yeah. So this is like 2015, and it was really interesting then. So I didn't even hesitate. I had a interview Friday evening. I was getting ready to go to a Pittsburgh Pirate baseball game with a couple buddies and my wife. And I had an interview. Pat calls me 30 minutes after the interview. He said, "You got the job. Here's your offer. You in." And I didn't even hesitate. I had no clue about Kabir, the company. I just jumped in both feet. Let's go. And it was awesome. So we built that company, and then ultimately we were acquired by Vertafore. But it was just such a unique time in the industry where there was this shift to realize, oh man, we're falling well behind a lot of the other larger industries. We got to do something. And we worked with some of the great clients, got acquired by Vertafore in April 2017. I spent another 2.5 years with Vertafore after that acquisition, had a phenomenal experience there. But it was just time for me to take a look at, hey, what's next? I was an individual sales producer at Risk Match, but I was ready to take on kind of a bigger role as far as within an organization that's scaling. So along comes, I get a nod about Aureus in summer of 2019. And I loved what Aureus was doing with data, because if I look back to Risk Match, we were kind of held within what was in the agency management system, client and policy level details. Let's just play with that. Aureus takes it a few steps further. And I'll give you a little background on Aureus. They started in 2013, still have a huge operation in India. We work with some of the largest insurance carriers in the world, like AXA, Allianz, Transamerica, and so on, processed 60 plus million policies of data. But the unique thing about Aureus is we're so worried and concerned about what's happening with the end customer. So whether if it's a carrier that's writing the business direct, whether it's an agency that's writing business on behalf of that customer, trading through relationships, we can use data from the agency management system, data from voice, CRM systems, customer testimonials, surveys, and we're able to bring in all this wonderful information, because the most important thing in the entire value chain of insurance is the customer. Right. From an agency perspective, from a carrier, without that $1 premium. Yeah. I mean, and we're able to give agencies now and carriers insight to, hey, what are my customers most likely to do next? Right. And you can kind of equate it to when you look at Amazon. I mean, the first time you go into Amazon, you start searching, you start buying, they start learning all these different behaviors of what you're doing. So the next time you log in, things are prepackaged for you, ready to go. Hey, you should buy this because you bought these other things. And that's ultimately what we're getting to. Yeah. And it's awesome. So we took that technology, and Frank Sentner, who's on our board as well, at Aureus, and Frank's a legend. He's the godfather of insuretech. He took me to the board meeting where I had to present my business case, because we worked with carriers before. And Frank and I are sitting there talking, and we start talking about the independent agent channel. Right. That's all I worked with primarily. He's obviously a legend in the IA channel standpoint. So we started kind of nodding to Anurag, who's the CEO and co-founder. Hey, we should think about building out a product for the IA channel here. So fast forward a few months, I take the job. We get Chris Paradiso, which you know well. I mean, Chris is the man. I mean, he's like family to us, but he is so well connected into the industry to knowing kind of what's next. How can we evolve and do this? And Chris writes Frank's business on that side. So Frank goes, "Hey, Chris, can we borrow some data to start playing with?" And of course, Chris was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. I love the idea." So we started manually pulling some of Chris's data and started showing him some insights from what we're able to provide as a company from all the past historical stuff. But we also bring in third-party data. Right. So manually we showed Chris, hey, you have these clients that right now have registered mobile homes with you that are no longer at their location. And, oh, by the way, here's these clients of yours that have these specific behaviors that are a high likelihood of varying risks. And Chris is like, this is amazing. So finally we get to the point in January where there's going to be a product specifically for the independent agency channel. And we put our flag in the ground, said, we're going to go after this. And we named this product called DONNA. So January 2020, we start developing, we launch it in April, end of April, early May of 2020. And it's been an amazing ride to this point, because we're in a point of a scaling company. We use that information from Chris to replicate. Now we've got a bunch of integrations that we're working through right now, and that we already have established with agency management system vendors. And we're just incredibly excited as far as the trajectory of what we're doing and how we're helping independent agents do more with their data, but also service their clients better too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all you're doing. Yeah. Speaking of Amazon, just really quickly, have you heard the story about Bezos and his early days at Amazon?
I've heard a few. So
Well, just for everybody that might be watching or listening, to recap that particular situation, the story that I heard, Bezos was in with the board of directors. And in the early days of Amazon, Bezos had the vision, right? Including the AI aspect, including the technology to be able to follow people's wants and desires, right? And so the board of directors is going, you're out of control, the spending, we got to do something about these expenses and so forth. He goes, look, it's part of how we're going to get to where we're going. I know where we're going from a vision standpoint. I need to know if you guys are behind me or not. And they're going, we got to do something about these expenses. He goes, look, I'm going to stay on the same path and I need you to have my back. If you don't have my back, I'll leave and go do something else. What do you want me to do? Okay. And obviously the rest is history.
Right.
So
visionaries like that, I mean, it's incredible. And it kind of goes, like I was mentioning earlier too, with the shift kind of in the industry. You know, you look back 5 years to where we are now, and there's a ton of work everybody has to do.
Of course. Yeah.
But I think everybody's kind of in that same like trajectory and has that same vision of what it needs to be to allow agencies to interact better with their clients, to interact better with their carriers, to understand opportunities for growth in the business and make it easy to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of our partner integration companies are doing. Like everybody is so good in their specific niche. So I look at like Tarmica doing the small commercial rating platform on that end. You look at Agency Zoom, Better Agency, Rocket Referrals, Lightspeed, Cotter Group. There's so many awesome technologies out there, but it's focused on, hey, can we help you, the agent, do your job better? Can we help you be efficient when you're servicing your clients? But just, can we help you grow? Can we help you sustain? On it. So, I mean, it's awesome. Such a good time to be in this industry.
Well, thank you for all you guys are doing. So let's talk about maybe the 5,000 foot level item, AI.
Yep.
Go ahead. And for anybody that's listening or watching out there, and they might not be super familiar with what AI is yet, albeit I'll suggest they are, because everybody that I talk to, they've got an idea what they think AI is. What is it?
Yeah, exactly. So I mentioned earlier the importance of having large chunks of data. You talked about Amazon. I mean, that's how they're learning across everything and just get better at what they're doing, because AI stands for artificial intelligence. And basically what it is just a giant brain in the background that takes a look at all these different data points and helps make sense of kind of trends that are going on and be able to point you in the direction of what's most likely to happen because of what's happened in the past. And we use AI every single day with our carrier partners, with our new DONNA product. And basically what it does is every single time something happens in our system, because I mentioned all the different data points we pull in. So when transactions start to come through an agency management system, it's reflected in ours, and our back-end system starts to learn from those. And it's just basically like a human brain in the background, the most powerful human brain there is, that's helping things get smarter and smarter as transactions roll through. So the information that you're presented to gets easier to digest and easier to understand and more accurate on top of that.
And this AI human brain works 24/7, 365, even while we sleep, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Every time we extract data, nightly uploads, even real-time uploads too, every single time something changes with a client, it is constantly learning. And there's also, you know, we don't have to get too deep into the functionality of the platform, but even feedback from our users to let us know, is our AI going down the right path? So they can let us know, hey, yes, it is, and here's the reason why. Or they can let us know, hey, it's a little off base. What's the reasons why? And we'll implement that. And then it just keeps getting smarter and smarter and learn as you go.
Well, this is like a data machine.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Without a doubt.
That if you need to shift and redirect or tweak, you can do that. And that's where Arias comes in, because you can help people, if you will, customize it to their situation and monitor and tweak and customize, right?
Exactly. Because everybody has different needs and everybody has a different way how they enter the information into an agency management system. So, and everyone talks about, oh, garbage in, garbage out, data quality and all this other stuff too, but you have to start somewhere. And that's all I say. I mean, even outside of, you know, investing in technologies or anything, just take the first step. Right. Take a step forward. I don't care what you're doing. You're getting up to work out in the morning. You're getting up to do a task or an administrative activity at work that you do not want to do. Just start moving, and you'll be better. But that's what I say, because like the technology we do, it is a mirror of what you're doing in your system. So you can understand, okay, maybe we have to fix some certain things after you get a peek at where are some of those shortfalls in the data. And then on top of that, Mike, you and I have conversations all the time about getting your team invested and rowing in the same direction of that too. So when you can coach your team, the account managers, the producers, the CSRs, everybody, the reasons why it's so important to have good quality data, because it's going to allow you to do so much more as a business.
That's right.
It's going to let you do so much more with your clients in a bunch of different ways. So I think we're in this unique position from learning about customers and scoring that customer experience, and then being able to point agencies, hey, you have these 10 clients that are primed to buy an umbrella policy from you. Go after it. Or you have these clients because of everything that's happened that are highly at risk. Let's go retain them.
Right.
So there's so many ways you can use data, and it doesn't have to be with our DONNA product or anybody else. Just take a step forward and understand that, because I think if anything, the last 12 months have shown us you have to invest in various technologies to stay connected. You have to be where your customers are. You have to provide the service that they want you to provide, or they can leave. It costs so much more money to go acquire new business than it does to be able to retain business at the same time.
That's exactly what I just wrote down. I was going to bring that up next. 7 times more to acquire a new customer than it is to keep an existing one.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you help people, round out the wealth within their book.
Yep. There's so many.
Yeah.
Chris Paradiso, we did when we announced DONNA, we did a webinar with HawkSoft, and it was called Find the Diamonds in Your Backyard, because it's so easy to do if you have the right platform in place, because as I mentioned, you can get a ton of revenue. Revenue is revenue. I don't care if it's coming from somebody I never talked to before, if it's coming from someone I've known for 30 years.
Yeah.
And if you're able to understand what good looks like, what do I want to replicate with my customers? When I'm going out to pursue new business, there's always a place for that. But if you know with what you have and what you want to move forward with, it makes it so much easier.
Absolutely. The acre of diamonds. It's always sitting there waiting to be mined.
No doubt.
I was just working with an agent this morning in this realm earlier. Over a 10-year period, out of 100 clients, the following will occur. If you have just one policy, i.e. auto or home, for your client, you may lose up to 90 of them.
Wow.
Okay. If you have 2 policies, home and auto, or home and life, etc., for that client, you're only going to lose 38 of them. If you have 3 or more policies, auto, home, life as an example, or in business, same thing, you will lose only 10 of those clients.
It's incredible.
So, Bain's study, the McKinsey study, it's all been done data in the past, but it's been proven. So why wouldn't you invest? And I know you, Arias has a calculator right on your website, which is fantastic. I strongly encourage people, and we'll get that information from you in just a minute, but go to the website and do your own calculation. It will show that whatever the investment is, it will pay for itself almost immediately.
It really is, because and I equate things like that simply, because if you let even $10 out of every single dollar walk out your door on January 1st, and we'll just use round dates and numbers, and your organic growth goals, hey, I want to grow 9% next year, you effectively need to grow 19% now. So
exactly.
It's just you need to focus with what you have. And I always say, because I'm a big Mad Men fan, and I love Don Draper, and I dropped this before, but like dance with the one who brung you, when he was talking about when they were trying to sign Heinz ketchup instead of vinegar, sauces, and beans. And it is that way, because like, if I can round out an account, if I can have 3 or 4 policies, and that's something that our DONNA platform monitors every single day. Right. What's my product penetration? How can I slice out my clients from who's only buying home from me that has a high likelihood to buy auto from it, and then just provide it to you easy within a few clicks and understand it. Because if you can lead them down that path and make it easy for them to understand and digest, that's where we're getting to. And we're taking feedback from agents constantly to make our platform that much usable all the time too, as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Great stuff. So you got AI, you've got all the data, you're putting it at the fingertips of agents so they can use it. You integrate with agency management systems. And in looking at your product, originally, I remember that you're integrating with the majority of the agency management systems out there, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So we started off initially because Chris Paradiso was on HawkSoft. So HawkSoft's been a phenomenal partner as they shifted into this kind of API marketplace for technology vendors. Because I think going back to like kind of the long-term vision of what everybody wants to get to is this connected ecosystem. How can I make sure that I don't interrupt workflows more than they already are interrupted, but it just enhance it, like, give them what they need within the environments they want to do it at. So we're integrated with HawkSoft. We have the QQ API set up too. We're in the process of wrapping up NowCerts. We're talking to a few other of the largest vendors right now too, but we can work with any system. We have a way to get access to the data on that standpoint. But even outside of there, I mentioned those other technology partners, because if we're able to provide those insights, DONNA certainly can be a standalone platform, but I think ultimately that's not going to be best case for us as a company or the agency.
Right.
If I can provide my predictions of DONNA, the SentiMeter score, which is sentiment meter, it's that real-time customer experience score.
Right.
And within another CRM environment, within a digital marketing partner, if I can push that information out and just allow our agencies, agents, CSRs, producers, everybody to be so efficient. We're happy. You mentioned AI. We're happy being behind the scenes and just providing the kind of the insights and the invisible analytics, we'll call it, behind there.
Right. So let's get super clear on that to make sure that everybody understands. So you're the back end, artificial intelligence, human brain for agency partners. You collect all their data, you put it onto a dashboard. It assigns a SentiMeter score for pretty much every customer, correct?
Yeah, without a doubt. And SentiMeter is patented, it's trademarked by Arias too, and it's also under a patent. And SentiMeter takes into account every interaction you have with an insured, every policy transaction, billing, testimonial, and it gives a score since the beginning of that customer's journey with you. Right. And it follows it, because as you know, any relationship you have, there's just ebbs and flows of a relationship.
Right.
And there's always a place for NPS scoring and customer testimonials and so on. But the challenge with NPS is it's at a point in time, and it's only with a small segment of your customers. And most of the time it's those customers that are really upset or really happy.
Right.
But things can shift quickly on that end. So that's why SentiMeter, it just follows that journey. So if something happens, you're not making decisions based off what happened 8 months ago. You're making decisions across every single one of your clients as of today. What opportunities do I have? Where can I go sell? Where can I go retain? How can I grow?
Yeah. Just for everybody watching or listening, NPS, what is that?
Net Promoter Score survey. So you may have seen it from other companies. It basically says, are you happy with the service? Would you likely recommend, this to somebody else? So it's roughly a few questions. In our industry, the average response rate on that's eight to 10% of customers are on there. Which the nice thing is with SentiMeter, we use NPS with partners like Rocket Referrals to help supplement SentiMeter.
Right.
But it's non-invasive. So you don't even have to talk to a customer based off every transaction, interaction, event that you have. It gives you a real score. Okay, Mike's my client. He's a 94. I'm only writing home and auto. He's a rock star. He's high net worth. Let's go get a big umbrella policy with a few $1 million limit on it. And
nobody's ever probably talked to Mike about that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the commonality. Yeah. It's right there in your own acre of diamonds. So that's great stuff. Fantastic. Thank you. So in envisioning this for the future, you're the back end human brain for the agency. You're taking the data, you're refreshing it daily, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then we have the dashboard with the SentiMeter score. You can pretty much pick and choose within the data system what you want to work on, where you want to target your focus of time investment to continue to grow your business.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just lays out a strategy, clear as day, of understanding, okay, we have these certain customers, which are a great opportunity. Let's figure out how we're going to approach those. Or maybe you have some retention challenges. Let's figure out how we can proactively take the steps forward to make sure we hang on to these clients, because it reflects straight back to the stats we just talked about. Like, let's make sure we retain, because it's a lot easier to retain and grow from what we have.
Absolutely true. So if we have 1,000 customers, we're going to wake up in the morning and there's our dashboard. We're going to see the SentiMeter score. And there might be a bottom rung of customers, if you will, who are on the lower end of the SentiMeter score. Those might be customers that might be at risk or not happy, right?
Exactly. And it seems from all the data that we've seen, because we've processed a little over $500 million just in the first 7 months of this. And it's typically those monoline clients you were talking about that are in that range. So you got to make sure don't get me wrong, there's going to be some in there you just don't want. But there's a lot of good business in there too that you can start to filter through and understand. Let's make sure we hang on to these. Let's start getting a few more products per customer in here.
Yeah, fantastic. So anybody that wants to learn more about this product that's never heard of it or may have just heard something out there, what would you recommend that they do to learn more about it?
Yeah, we have a website. It's pretty clean and easy. It's called DONNA. It's DONNA for Agents, and it's not the number 4. It's the word for FOR. So DONNAforagents.com. Or you could reach directly out to me. My email address is ron@ariasanalytics.com, and Arias is AUREUS. on that side. And I'd be happy to walk you through the platform and just share some overview stuff because, I feel like we're in this tremendous spot in this evolution in the industry where, we're laying the foundation to scale pretty quickly this year. Talking to a ton of great agencies and carriers out there for that matter.
Yeah, and the great thing is about this particular technology, it's here to stay, and those who don't make the decision to jump on board now might get left behind. And in the words of Will Rogers, if you just sit there, you're going to get left behind, right?
Exactly.
Run over. So we don't want that for anybody that might be either watching or listening to this, especially those in unstoppable nations. So, yeah. Ron, anything else you can think of, outside the box or related to this, or anything else industry-wide to share?
I just think I kind of attribute it back to just I understand when you have an agency on this side. The absolute most important thing are the relationships you guys have, with your customers. There is a direct correlation to understanding customer sentiment or customer experience and then profitability of your book and growth of your book. But I even look at it our way too. We've the past year plus, because Anurag moved his family from India. We still have a big India operation over to Hartford. But I mentioned some guys that we've got a chance to work with over the past year and a half or so. The relationships in this industry, it's unlike any other. I've been in this industry less than what you and Chris and everybody else has, but it's been roughly 7-8 years now at this point. And I'm having an absolute blast. There's so many wonderful people out there that just want to see the industry thrive, and yourself included, Chris. Chris doesn't care if there's an agency 2 doors down from him. If it can help us get our industry and move them forward, he's there to help. And I know you're the same way. And that's all I want to say is, I just absolutely love what's going on right now and the opportunity that's out there and the opportunity to interact with people like you and Chris and everybody else. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge privilege to serve in our industry that has been so good to us. And we're grateful for that. I have a following question that would fit in earlier in the conversation.
Yeah.
So, when DONNA is installed in an agency operation, is by the way, is this primarily set up for independent insurance agency businesses?
Yeah, so there's certainly an applicability for the captive world on that side too as well, but we do not have any captive clients, nor are we pursuing that right now. We do have carrier clients that are purely yeah, I love it. And the reasons why. So, but we do have carrier clients that are purely independent distribution channel focused on that side that are working with us to be able to provide DONNA out to their agencies, right? Because it can help create a better relationship and transparency to know opportunities. So purely independent agent, purely carrier driven from independent agent channel on that side with it. And that's where our opportunity to grow is. And I think that's where we can make the most impact at the same time.
So my question was going to be, once installed in an agency, is DONNA in the SentiMeter score on every desktop in the agency for every user?
Yes, and on top of that, when you go through rollout processes and you think about how can we roll this out best, but that's our ultimate goal. We want SentiMeter to be the de facto industry standard of, hey, you're sitting at a bar with some guy and he owns an agency and you own your agency, Mike, and you say, what's your SentiMeter score? And then the one guy with the lowest one has to buy a drink. Type stuff. So it basically is that, but it's interesting because of how we work with the data. We can look across portfolio owners and see what that portfolio owner's average SentiMeter score is for their book of business, and then the opportunities within. So we have some clients that are looking at it from a kind of a reporting back to the performance of their employees, but also understanding where those opportunities are, the coaching moments, the real-time moments that they have opportunities to really kind of delight their customers too, to give everybody the insights onto that. So there's a lot of opportunities to do it on that end from being on everybody's desktop.
Yeah, I just had a quick thought. So what Arias and DONNA and the AI do for insurance agency businesses, and I'll talk about the leaders and the entrepreneurs in just a minute, it allows agents and people to serve people more often. And when they're failing at serving their people to the level that they expect, that expectation bar, it shows you that so you can shift and immediately serve those people too, to make sure that you keep as many people within your herd as possible.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Just give you enough information so you know so much more about your customers and know the opportunity. But again, that servant mentality of it is that's where it tees up. Yeah,
absolutely. And for the insurance agency entrepreneur, as an example, if they grow to the point where they have 15, 20 or more people on their team, they don't always know how well the customers are being served.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's always that element of being removed, obviously, from executive positions as you grow with it. And this is a way for you because, again, there's that constant pulse of what's happening with my clients. Because I mean, that's your revenue on it. So it's a big shift right now with what we're going through, and we kind of feel like we're in that front edge of what's happening with the industry on this side of things, of working with customers and getting all the predictive analytics and all the fun opportunities for agencies.
Yeah, and you're doing such great stuff. Thank you so much. And being on the front edge, we want everybody that is watching or listening to this podcast to be on the front edge. So if you want to be on the front edge, DONNA4agents.com. That's DONNA for FOR agents.com, or Ron at Aureus.com. That's AUREUS.com. Get in touch with Ron and his team. They will help you. You can provide a demo, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So get in touch with them, get yourself into a demo, find out more, learn how it applies to your own agency situation. There's no cost, no obligation to do the demo. They've got a calculator on their website, DONNA4agents.com. Go check that out. You can calculate what the instant ROI looks like for your agency business, because our goal here at UPP is to help agents grow their business, create wealth, so they can have more freedom to live life on your own terms. And what DONNA brings to the table is that freedom positioning, because they do the back end AI brain work for us to let us know how we're doing. And once you use the strategies, the people, the processes, and promotion, you're there. Ron, great stuff, man.
I love it. No, I mean, I had an absolute blast with this too. It was a great way to wrap up the week on this side too. And I always enjoy talking with you. I love what you're doing in the industry.
No, I love what you guys are doing too. It's
Thanks, man.
Honor and a pleasure to huddle with you. Hey, everybody, if you enjoyed this episode of the Unstoppable Profit Podcast, please share it with anybody you know. That's unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. We're on all the channels out there, Apple, Stitch, the whole 9 yards. We're out there. You can go find us, unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode like this one that could be an absolute game changer for your industry. Ron, thank you so much. An honor and a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Same here.
All right, everybody, have a great day. Remember, get out there, make a difference, be unstoppable, leave no regrets, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to listen to more episodes or share this podcast with someone you care about, please visit www.unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. Now go out and make a difference. Be unstoppable and leave no regrets.